Everything else? Okay. Yes. Can you hear me talking right now? Testing. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Juneteeth4me. We're having a couple of technical difficulties. Come back out again. Can y'all hear me right this moment? All right, y'all. We're working on it. We're getting there. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everybody that is here. We're figuring it out in real time. I've been having technical difficulties for the last few hours. So I really, really appreciate your patience as I am figuring all of this out, all right? Let's vibe to the music for right now as I finish doing some troubleshooting. Thank you, Danielle, for rebuking the sound demon. We bind everything that's coming for this healing. I'm doing this all in real time. I'm rebuking the anxiety that's sitting in my back right now. Show y'all my junkie screen. Can you see? Right now? On the earth. Hey, everybody. We are still working it out. We do know Mercury is definitely in retrograde. Y'all, it's so hot in here. Definitely in micro braid right now. I'm trying to figure it out. If you can see myself. I know y'all probably hear my crazy dialogue. Just work with me.
Hold those gray stones. Did it. Yesterday's. You know those gray stones. Sun's coming out. Did it. Did it. I can feel it. Did it. Da. Those gray skies. Sun's coming out. Did it. I can feel it. Did it.
I think we almost ready, y'all. I'm gonna try to do one switcheroo, and we can get this party started. We got people who are mad at the broadcast or mad at retrograde. I'll let y'all look at my flux capacitor for a second. We're starting. Give me 1 second, y'all.
Lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice and say, lift every voice and say, bring it the harmonies, the harmonies. Lift every voice and say, lift every voice and say, and I rejoice in God. Lift every voice and say, highest in the sky. Lift every voice and say, let every sound round. Lift every voice and say, as you roll. Sing. Lift every voice and say, sing a song. Sing a song. Sing a song. Full of the faith that the dark passes through. Sing a song. Full of the hope that the presence has taught us to sing a song. Facing the rising sun. Sing a song. Let us march on to victory. Is won. Let us march on to victory. Is won. Let us march on till victory is
Hey, everybody, listen, I am so grateful that you all have remained patient with me as we work through all of these technical difficulties. I am grateful beyond measure. Am I losing sound again? So, okay, I was worried. I did not anticipate having to do this live this way, but hey, the spirit moves and wants what the spirit moves and wants, and so here we are. And so I'm grateful that you all have decided to join me for Juneteenth for me. My name is Eris Edie. I am your host, your producer, your curator. My pronouns are she and they, and what you just heard was Morning of Black Stars rendition of the Black National Anthem. They are right here from Cleveland, and so I'm grateful that you all did this beautiful, beautiful rendition for a time such as this. I can't get it out of my head. And also the beautiful dancer that you saw is my twin, my little cousin twin. That is Dana Marie. So thank you so much for using your ministry and your gift. So y'all, welcome to Juneteenth for me. Once again, we are here to heal. We are here to have joy, unspeakable. And the art that you're looking at right now, which I'm going to continue to plug, is from the great Danny Carr. She's also from Cleveland, Ohio as well, a wonderful designer. And that design is going to be on a mural right on 116th in between Buckeye and Kinsman in the next couple of weeks. And so we're so excited that you decided to share your art with us for this experience as we do some physical action, as we do some healing action as well. So we got a whole lot of things lined up for y'all. And all of my notes are out of order. And so y'all just have to be gracious with me. I'm giving myself some grace. I hope you give yourself some grace as well. So what we have coming up, we're going to get permission from our elders to continue, because we can't do nothing without permission from our elders to continue. And then we're going to have our invocation from a good friend of mine, Jay Renee. And then we're going to do some chanting with my homegirl all the way up in Detroit. So Jay Renee is from North Carolina. Some chanting with Fire Angel is up in Detroit. And then after we do that, we're going to come right back to Cleveland with Jasmine Burnett and pour out some libations for our ancestors. Briefly after that, we're going to take a trip all the way down to Alabama to hear a little bit about a great organization and called Nights and Orchids. And so I'm really excited about that. And then from there, we will have our first praise and worship selection from none other than Victoria Hubbard Barnes. And so y'all just stick and stay with me as we work through all these technical issues. Position yourself for a posture of peace, for a posture of receiving whatever healing that it is that you need and that you were searching for. So think of the one thing that you really want to meditate on our time together over the next hour and a half, 2 hours-ish. You know, you never really know. But think about what it is that you really want to meditate on, what you really want to hear from your higher power or from your spirit or from God about, and just put that at the center of yourself as we move forward through this experience. Thank y'all so much, and let's do it.
You do.
Thank you so much. Can you please tell everybody your name?
I'm Sheila Sullivan.
Where you from?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and my company is Passing Knowledge, changing legacies one woman, one thought at a time.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so happy that you're here. We're celebrating Juneteenth. I'm calling it Juneteeth4me, a healing experience. And right now our world is just wild. It's very different. It's something that we've never seen before. And for me as a person who grew up with two grandmothers who were preaching and praying and signifying and shouting and wailing women, with them being gone, it's always for me, it's always a blessing to be able to sit at the feet of our elders who have seen some things that I could not even begin to fathom. And so I would be remiss if I didn't just give space for folks who have seen some things. Because I feel like you have some words of encouragement for us. What have you seen?
Recently?
We can go recently, we can go wherever, whichever direction.
Those of us who grew up in the 60s, the 50s, even the 70s, this looks very familiar. Mm. And I remember the day they closed the polls. And everybody said, oh, they're talking about the military coming in. Mm. And I tried to explain to people, you live in Cleveland. There's always boots on the ground. And we've seen boots on the ground in a different way because we lived through the riots. Okay. And I know what it feels like to see tanks going through the street. Mm. So when people say, oh, well, we're doing this because, you need to talk to your elders and find out what that comes from. What happens when that is over? Mm-hmm. And understand that sometimes guidance is what is needed. I blame us. I think you saw the movies, you saw the shows, you saw the reels, but you didn't have conversations. We didn't leave a blueprint. So people saw the marches, but you didn't see the action afterwards. You didn't see what happened when you went home. So whenever there was a march, there was a call to action. So you didn't go and just listen to speeches. You left with an action plan to take back that replicated the action plan that everybody else took back, so that we had something to do that was going to affect change.
And just what were one of those things that you were like? What was one of those calls to action? I mean, I'm sure over time there's been so many different calls to action, but I think what I'm really trying to speak to is the fact that the things that you all were fighting for then are still the same very things that we're fighting for now.
Because we dropped the ball. There are things that drop. We went out and registered people to vote. I don't know if people understand that you didn't have to be old enough to vote in the 70s and in the late 60s in order to register someone to vote. So the children, we were mobilized. And it wasn't something that was like, oh, well, you belong to this group or you belong to that group. You were a black child, lived in a black neighborhood who did what they were told. They said, listen, go sign these people up to vote. We went to the park with clipboards and we signed people up to vote. And people used to go pick people up and take them to the polls to make sure they were people who voted. And they used to go around and talk to each other and tell each other about who was running and what they were going to do or what they wanted to do. We used to raise up people and say, hey, this is somebody who would affect change. Let's put them in office. And we're not really doing that today.
And what do you think, where did the break come? What happened? Like you say y'all dropped the ball.
Black neighborhoods. We decided that we needed something different. And it's not even about separatism. It was about what we needed to do to be united to affect change. But it's hard to affect change when you're not in the same places.
Yeah.
And people thought that was a way of keeping you down, but what it was is it was the tribal nature of who we are. I can walk with you if I'm walking with you and you're next door. It's hard to walk with you when you're across town.
That's real. It's going to take you 30 minutes to get to you.
Okay, yeah. So we have to start thinking about those things. We also used to have our own businesses. We had neighborhoods, and the store down the street belonged to the guy who lived in the neighborhood, and we had multi-level neighborhoods.
Right.
So you didn't have a neighborhood where everybody in there worked at the store, everybody worked here. I grew up and people keep telling me, well, you grew up in Mount Pleasant. We were just regular folk in Mount Pleasant, but we were also multi-tiered. So the guy who worked for the garbage company was living there down the street from an attorney, who lived down the street from a doctor, who lived down the street from a teacher, and everybody's kids went to the same schools.
Yeah, and I think some of the other challenges that have come are not only did folks leave neighborhoods in search of just better or sometimes often brighter opportunities, which presented their own challenges. But I think the things that forced us out of those neighborhoods is because they were so pillaged by the systems that beat, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So capitalism had its share in it.
It had its share.
Redlining had its share. The housing markets, education. There were all these multi-level. So just like you talked about that multi-tier kind of community, there's also these multi-tier levels of oppression that were coming at us. And I'm just like...
That is still coming at us.
That are still coming at us, absolutely. But I can't begin to imagine what that felt like to do all of the work that the civil rights movement did and then to walk right into the 80s. Like, I can't imagine that type of devastation. Like, I feel like the type of loss that we saw through the crack epidemic is the type of loss that we're seeing now with COVID. The type of loss that we saw when with our folks with the HIV and AIDS community as well.
It's always been something. So it's not a new thing. Mm-hmm. Every time there is an advancement, there is something going to be thrown into the bowl. Mm-hmm. Okay? And every time it devastates the community. What I've found to be true is that we have resilience that nobody can match. We do have resilience. And even with COVID out here, we have to be real honest about some things. Most of our lives didn't change. So What is happening during COVID? We're having disparities in healthcare. That didn't happen for COVID. That has always been.
Mm-hmm.
We're having issues economically. That didn't happen with COVID. It always been.
Right.
We're showing up in food deserts. We lived in a food desert. It's always been there. What has happened is
COVID has made it impossible to ignore
it's not
that all of these things
and it's
are working
not
together.
able to ignore, not just because of COVID, but because of social media.
Yeah.
Social media has shown people who normally would not have noticed things that we always knew happened.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So instead of saying, well, you know what, they lynched this boy over here.
We saw this picture in the newspaper.
We saw this in the paper, or we didn't see it in the paper.
We just heard about it.
And you used to hear about it because somebody knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who read it, saw it, was there. And it would get around. But by the time you got it, it might have happened 3-4 months ago. Now it happened 5 minutes ago. Or it's happening right now because we're streaming live. So,
and the impact of the real-time trauma as well.
Vicarious trauma is so much more real today than it's ever been because it's happening in real time. And it's happening in real time in multiple places. So I haven't gotten rid of the feeling I have from this event before I'm hit with this event.
Exactly.
And in the meantime, I still need to do all the things I need to keep myself safe, my family safe, my surroundings safe, my community safe. And while I'm juggling all these balls in the air, everybody's asking you, why aren't you thriving?
Why can't you just figure it out?
And what you're doing is you're just trying to survive and keep everybody alive at the same time.
And hoping somebody can catch something that's going to fall. It's not a question of if it's going to fall. If it falls, but when it falls, being able to catch it.
Yeah.
And so as we round out this conversation, what words do you have for young people, young-ish people, folks who are, folks who are waking up for the first time? They're the First Nation proverb that says you can't wake a person pretending to be asleep. And so there are certain people who have finally decided to stop pretending to be asleep, who want to fast track their way in. And we still have to welcome those folks in, you know what I'm saying? Because just because there was a delay doesn't mean that they're not ready, that they don't have any value or that they're not ready to work. There's so many people who are like, oh, so now you just want to celebrate Juneteenth? Why now? How come you haven't been? Well, I'm here now.
And Juneteenth is new. For people, if you're born in the North,
it's new for us.
It's new. I went to Houston.
It's a totally different game.
In my 40s, I moved to Houston, and everybody was going, Juneteenth is coming. I was like, what is Juneteenth? And they were like, we was all free by Juneteenth. And I was thinking to myself, oh, y'all celebrate the fact that y'all were last?
Yes.
And people were like, y'all don't get it. And I was like, no, explain this to me. Because you're looking at me like, why don't you know about Juneteenth? Because I'm born in Cleveland, Ohio. We don't do Juneteenth.
But I think
so. It was a matter of let's talk about everybody's experience because it was somebody in my family's experience.
Yeah.
But that was one of those experiences they left at the border. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it doesn't impact us.
Exactly.
Because if we think about that alone,
2.5 years.
When you think about just
2.5 years, there are probably policies and procedures and things in place already that probably could very well secure our liberation as Black folks that we have no clue on the books already.
There's probably some laws that we probably can invoke to say, like, hey.
And also, we don't think about the fact there were people who were still enslaved in the 40s.
Yes. But then,
slavery
by another name.
That's what it was. There are things that people don't even realize went on in very rural places in the United States. There are people who families have said, well, we were part of this nation or this nation of Native people, because those were sovereign nations when they were set free, because tribes had slaves. All of them weren't just grafted in. Some of them were slaves. That when they were freed, they were people without a country because they didn't belong to the United States and they didn't belong to their sovereign nation. So who were they?
Right.
And where did they go? And how did they survive?
And how do we commemorate it?
And how do we talk about it? And who are they? And do they even get to have anything?
Like, where is their boss?
Yeah.
To be able to celebrate.
So people used to have a problem with the fact that people say, so you're African American? And I go, no, I'm not a Black. And they go, why do you see yourself that way? I said, because I live in a world where we have African Americans.
The people who move from
Africa who are
technically
African Americans. I said, but Black is the presence of all color. And if you came from anywhere and your family's been here for centuries, which we have now, basically we're the presence of all color. Even though we started out as the seat of everything anyway. Being in America, we kind of returned to it. From whatever experience our families went through. And that is why we come in so many hues. Our hair is so many textures. That we live so many different kinds of lives. It's because it depends on what melting pot you were in. And how it happened. Who started the pot? So there's nothing wrong with being Black. Actually, it's pretty cool. Everybody wants to be you.
If I wasn't born a Black woman, I would spend my life wanting to be.
I have no problems with that.
I would spend my life. I can't imagine waking up, anything but who I am, I just can't.
And it's okay to like us. Yeah. And that's the thing about it. It's okay to like who we are. Even if you see us as being fundamentally flawed.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay that I'm fundamentally flawed because they're mine.
I am my own problematic favorite.
I get to claim it all. And I get to trace it.
Yes.
I can trace the things that I can do. I can trace the silly dance I do in my kitchen to my grandmother.
Yes.
I can do those things. Yes. And it comes from understanding that when we do have something, we hold on to it.
Yes.
And those memories are real for us because there's a whole lot of history we don't have. So whatever history we can put our hands on,
we have to
hold on to it so that we can then give it away.
Yes. So
what I have for my children, and they are my children, you gotta have faith in a tomorrow that can be better than the today that you live in. But you also have to work for it. Nobody's gonna give it to you. Nobody gave it to us. Nobody gave it to your ancestors. Nobody's gonna give it to you. Nobody owes you anything.
Not a doggone thing.
And I think we have a microwave mentality that has come along in the mid-'80s, that we want things quick. Processes are long. Processes are hard. Processes make you cry.
Yes.
But they also make you rejoice when you get to the end of it. This journey in America is a long process. It took us 400 years to get here. And what we have to understand is whether we realize it or not, we've taken at least 50 steps backwards. We've got to regain what we've lost. And then we have to still move forward. Somewhere along the line, self-respect lost its meaning. Respecting yourself means you don't disrespect others. You can't give me respect if you don't respect yourself. And it doesn't mean fear. You don't respect anything that you fear. Respect is actually about love. And so it starts with loving self. And that's hard in a world where nobody loves you. But that's where we got to start. We got to start with the respect.
You know you're cracking my head right now, right? Cracking my head right now. I mean, I could tarry for quite a while on you can't respect anything that you feel.
Can't respect anything that you feel.
And I mean, I think it's... Thank you. Drop the whole mic. So this is, thank you for giving us permission to continue. Thank you for your words of encouragement. There are a lot of activists of all ages, genders, Black folks who are listening and heeding and growing and evolving because of this moment. And I am so, I love you.
Thank you. Love you.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. With our hearts and minds turned towards God, let us pray. Our Lord and our God, creator of heaven, earth, and the universe in between, sustainer of our faith, hope, and trust, even in the midst of adversity and affliction. To the God of our ancestors and Lord of our redemption, we beseech you, meet us here today. Look upon us with joy and gladness. As you see your own reflection in us, may you find pleasure and grant us the ability to see ourselves in you. Smile on our celebration of heritage, ancestry, and freedom. Accept and echo our gratitude for the ways that you have made for us along the way. Let our praise resound in your ears for years to come. Sustain us, rejuvenate us, revive us here today as we persist on the path to freedom, liberating ourselves one by one and day by day. Reassure our confidence that one day we will all be free without qualification or exception according to your promise, because we know your words are true and your plan is perfected through us. Bless our fellowship today, oh God. Show up with us and for us. Be God like only you can. You know every heart's desire and intention. You know every physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental affliction and need. And you are the God that provides for us all, time and time again. So have your way here today. Free us to be our full selves and experience your fullness. Today, free us to be the vessels you design with confidence and love. Show us your way. Teach us your precepts. Guide us into your truth. Give us the exceeding and abundantly blessings we know that you are capable of. Grant us your yes to our invitation and to our prayer, and we will be careful and intentional in giving your name the honor, glory, and praise you deserve. As you commune with us, show yourself strong. Let us feel your movement in our bones, our spirits, and our souls. Give us the strength, courage, and direction we need to press onward towards the mark of the high calling, each of us according to the measure of faith you have granted us. Acknowledge us with your presence. Heal, deliver, empower, elevate, and set free. Here, today, for us, your chosen people, we ask these and all blessings in your holy, precious, wondrous, matchless name. Amen. I am the executive.
All right, y'all. Pardon the pause. I have some other footage to show you, but I need to switch over. Told you I was having a couple technical difficulties, so just ride with me, all right? I appreciate you each.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 hey, 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 hey.
I got one more for y'all before we move on to our brother Q. Come on.
Welcome, kin, beloved, dear ones, family, friends, sweet souls, beloved hearts. My name is Jasmine Burnett. I am a third-generation Black Midwesterner. I am a Black lesbian feminist. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I am here to share with you the beautiful practice of pouring libations in honor of Iris Edie and this beautiful space that they have curated for us to be inside of on Juneteenth. The pouring of libations is actually an ancient African practice. It has come through many iterations and many lineages. However, today, I am sharing with you this practice inside my home in Cleveland, Ohio, in the mighty Midwest. What libations do is they give honor and reverence and recognition to those who came before us, our ancestors, our transcestors, our queer family, those of us who are here today inside of our life, giving honor to those ancestors, and those who will come after us, those who we may never know will benefit and will receive the blessing of the pouring of libations. So I'm going to start with my water, which has jasmine, rose, and lavender to keep us soft, juicy, sensual, safe, luscious, able, capable, and ready. So we're going to pour some libation for our ancestors, our transcestors. And we're going to speak the names of those who are most recently departed from us. Dominique Phelps, Raya Milton, Oluwatoyin Salu, Ashe. And we will pour water for those of us who are here, fighting, learning, growing, being, doing, existing, giving reverence to, and setting preparation for our future. Let's honor ourselves by placing our right hand over our heart, and our left hand on our bellies. And just let your belly fall loose in your stomach, in your hand, and place your hand so that your palm is over your heart. And just take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel your aliveness, feel your presence. Allow it to fill up the space that you're in so that you have an offering to give to our future generations of queer family, non-binary family, trans family. And let us pour libations for our future, for their lives, for their peace, for their joy, for their love. So that all that we are creating in this moment, at this time, is for their light, their good, their hopes. May we all be peace. May we all be love. May we all be joy. May we resist. May we find soft places to land, warm hands to hold, open arms to embrace us. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And so it is.
Director and co-founder for the Knights and Orchid Society. I am a Black transgender man. I am an activist.
I'm gonna restart this because I gotta make honor to my boy. Hold on. Let me get it right, y'all. Be patient with me.
I am the executive director and co-founder for the Knights and Orchid Society. I am a Black transgender man. I am an activist. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a father. TKO is a Black, transgender-led, direct support, grassroots nonprofit. Our motto is nurturing through non-traditional care. And for us, that looks like sexual health education. It looks like food security and sustainability. It looks like access to affirming health care. And it looks like art tourism. If we look back after all of these protests and we're still transphobic and homophobic, we did it wrong. The time for change is now.
Let's splash against my hollow bones. Let's splash against my hollow bones. Let's splash against
Met me deep in my despair to show me you would never leave me there. You claim because I made me so much more. I am your child, and I'm worth fighting for. Though heavy with the weight of my mistakes, you carry me and refuse to let me sink under the pressure. You meant for me to soar. I am your child, and I'm worth fighting for. And eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard all you have planned for me. And nothing can separate me from your love when there's so much more still worth fighting for. Now I'm moving by faith and not by sight towards victory. By the power of your might, you strengthen on my path and open every door. I am your child, and I'm worth fighting for. And eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard all you have planned for me. And nothing can separate me from your love when there's so much more still worth fighting for. Now I'm pressing towards the mark, for the calling of my life is worth fighting for. And I keep my mind stayed on you, 'cause the peace it brings is worth fighting for. Now be faithful to my husband and children, 'cause it is worth fighting for. My ministry and my anointing, it's worth fighting for. And His word is not my home. My home is over in glory, and it's worth fighting for. I got a mother and a father too, yeah. They're over in glory, and it's worth fighting for. When I get there, I sing hallelujah. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's worth fighting for. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Life with you, Lord, is worth fighting for. Hallelujah. Yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Life with you, Lord, is worth fighting for. Hallelujah. Yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Life with you is worth fighting for. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard all you have planned for me. There is so much more still worth fighting for.
Miss Shamika, and I'm your storyteller, and we're going to read Juneteeth4me, Words and Pictures by Floyd Cooper. Maisie wants to play outside, but it is too late. It's getting dark, Maisie. It's time to stay inside. Maisie wants a cookie, but it is time for bed. Not now, little one. It's too close to bedtime. Maisie wants to stay up late, but she is too little. Bedtime is the rule, sweet girl. Aw, why so grumpy, Sugar Bear? Asked Dad. I can't go where I want, have what I want, or do what I want, answers Maisie. Well, tomorrow you can have a celebration, says Dad. What are we celebrating? Asks Maisie. We will celebrate the day your great-great-great-grandpa Mose crossed into liberty. The day will be celebrated by us and many more families on a day we call Juneteenth. Dad lifts Maisie into his arms. I bet you're tired of hearing no all the time. Well, great-great-great-grandpa Mose heard no even more. Grandpa Mose worked in fields that stretched all the way to sunset. He and the other slaves would be bone tired, but they had to keep going. Their masters would not let them quit. But as they worked, they thought about freedom. And before they finally went to sleep at night, they prayed about freedom and made plans for change and a better future. Some slaves ran north to freedom, following a bright star in the sky. They sweat, they bled, and they cried till those cries were quieted by a single proclamation from a brave president. Grandpa Mose heard that proclamation read from the balcony of the hotel on that warm June day in Galveston, Texas. Grandpa Mose heard nothing but cheers, saw nothing but happiness, and felt nothing but pride shared by all those around him. The cheers became dancing, the dancing became celebrating. It went on and on into the night. Grandpa Mose and the others had found freedom. They continued to work, but this time they were paid for their work. So they worked, and they saved, and they never forgot the moment they heard, the moment that changed their lives forever. But things were not perfect. Black people still struggled to stand shoulder to shoulder with white people. They still weren't treated as equals. It wasn't easy, but they never gave up. And every year on Juneteenth, they remembered. They marched for jobs. They lobbied for schools and the right to vote. They shouted for opportunity. And every year on Juneteenth, they celebrated and remembered. They learned and they grew. They forgave. They excelled and achieved. They became heroes. Now, sweet Maisie, it's your turn to celebrate, just like great-great-great-grandpa Mose. It's your turn, Maisie, to eat some barbecue and drink some strawberry pop. It's your turn to celebrate and to remember. The end.
All right, y'all. All right. Was that not amazing? We have so much more to go. I'm so glad that y'all are sticking and staying with me. If you're just now joining, once again, my name is Eris Edie. I'm your host for Juneteeth4me, a healing experience. I hope you are feeling filled in one way or another. But now it is time for the word. And I am always excited and on time for the word. I'm excited to announce our speaker. I have been, somebody tagged me, tagged Dr. Tagged. I'm tripping on all my words because I'm just so excited. Somebody tagged me in a post about Pastor Bay, and I just happened to go onto her IG and saw her proverbial experience, and it has literally shifted how I understand how worship could happen virtually. I know all of us are doing some virtual worship, but it's just it goes to show just another nuance of just Blackness and dopeness and Christianity. And I'm gonna quit running my mouth and read you a little bit of her bio before we get this thing started. So Reverend Levon Proverbs, lovingly known as Pastor Bay, is a sex positive womanist healer. Y'all hear that? Is a body and sex positive womanist healer. She is a writer, pastor, preacher, poet, spiritual life coach, and highly sought after transformational speaker and seminar leader. She's been a TEDx speaker, which is super goals for me, and has been featured in Essence, Cosmo, the Washington Post, magazines, and Sojourners named her one of 11 women shaping the church in March of 2019. This woman has won an Emmy. She's the founder of Beautiful Scars, a healing-centered storytelling agency focusing on pleasure and resiliency. She is also the curator of the Proverbial Experience. I'm a member, a series of twice weekly spiritual gatherings via Instagram Live. Y'all get fed. I'm excited for y'all to get fed. But before you hear her voice, you're going to hear one more time from Victoria Hubbard Barnes, and she's going to continue our praise and worship. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. Let's do it.
You are here, turn the lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you, I worship you. 'Cause you are, Waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Do I have a witness out there that he's been your waymaker? Waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Through this pandemic, come on, and waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 'Cause you are here, turn lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, mending every heart, Lord. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, changing atmosphere, and I worship you, I worship you. You are here, changing households. Yes, why? I worship you, I worship you. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, you are, yeah. Waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness, my God, that is all your word. Say it again, yeah. Waymaker, miracle work, you a promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is all you are. That is all you are. Thank you for keeping your promises to me. That is who you are. Thank you for never leaving me or forsaking me. Yeah, that is who you are. Yeah, you keep on providing for me. That is all you are. That is all you are. We bless you.
It's a day called something is holding me back.
Indeed, we are grateful for a God who is a waymaker. And it is that God that I give honor to right now. I also give honor to my ancestors and my community. My name is Pastor LaVon Briggs, and I bring you greetings from the Proverbial Experience, an Instagram live series of spiritual gatherings to nourish your soul. And a huge shout out to Proverbial Kinfolk Eris. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with the community on this, the trillest Juneteenth ever. Let's jump into this word. Today's text is Galatians 5:1, the New Revised Standard Version, and it reads, "For freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery." Let us pray. Gracious and eternal God, thank you so much for this, the gift of your preaching moment. Send your word forth with convicting power and the Holy Spirit in the name of everything that is light and love and holy. Ashe and amen. Beloved, I want to lift up for today's topic, it is time. It is time. When I was 10 years old, I was outside playing double dutch with my homegirls when my aunt came outside to announce that she was taking all the kids to see The Lion King. Now, I, in my 10-year-old because I was in the double digits of ages now, I was like, I'm not going to see that kiddie movie. And if I could go back in time, I would nudge little LaVon to go, because before Black Panther, The Lion King was really the only Disney film that we had that introduced us to anything that was on the continent of Africa. And so eventually I did see it, and I was enamored with this story about identity and legacy and love. And there was one scene in particular that really resonated with me, because we are often finding ourselves in a season of transitioning into a bigger role of leadership, to having an elevated platform, having our voices amplified, right? And it can be a little scary, but with God, our ancestors, and our community looking on, we can do like Simba did. Yeah, it took him some time to come into his own. Yeah, he was a little afraid, but Rafiki, the counselor, the elder, the sage, the griot, when it's raining and Pride Rock is decimated by Scar's greed, Scar's capitalism, Scar's henchmen, Scar's bigoted politicians, Scar's anti-LGBTQ Supreme Court justices, the land is decimated. The people are anxious. They're in the middle of a racial uprising. They're in the middle of a global health crisis. They're in the middle of a racial pandemic, and they are afraid and looking for leadership. And so here comes Simba, grown, being loved on by his mama and his boo, being watched, gazed at lovingly by Timon and Pumbaa, his elders, his community. And Rafiki points to the edge of the cliff and says, "It is time." And so Simba, sure, he's got a little bit of trepidation, but he starts to put one foot in front of the other. And so the first thing that we have to do in this season of freedom is we have to reclaim our identity. We are not just Black, y'all. Black is not a place. Black don't have a flag. Sure, there's the Pan-African RBG flag, but Black does not have a motherland. You know our motherland, right? She's called Mama Africa. We have every right to identify as Africans, because as much as we love to wear natural hair and put in goddess locks and wear dashikis that were probably made in India or China, we are African. And for far too long, anything that has to do with Africa has been demonized. It is time for us to illuminate and enlarge and amplify our heritage. Yes, we were disconnected. Yes, it's the residual effects of chattel slavery. Yes, we have colonialism to fight against. But at the end of the day, y'all, all you got to do is say I'm African to reclaim everything that comes with that. We can no longer be aesthetic Africans. We must now have an African ethic. An African ethic nudges us to think about the collective. An African ethic calls us to protect our women, cis and trans, calls us to uplift our men, causes us to celebrate our non-gender conforming folks. That's what an African ethic does, and it's time for us to reclaim that. Second thing we need to do is following in the steps, the paws of Simba. When he's at the edge of the cliff, we start to see the clouds shapeshift into Mufasa. And we hear that James Earl Jones boom from the heavens and say, remember. Beloved, it is time for us to reclaim, and it's time for us to remember. It is time for us to recall who we were before the abuse, who we were before the trauma, who we were before the social conditioning. And it's not enough to just recall those things. We also need to remember. We need to put some things back together, because yes, what they did hurt you. Yes, what they said harmed you. But I'm here to tell you that your ancestors are riding for you. And that even if your blood relatives rejected you, even if you feel isolated and alone in quarantine, you are not alone. You have a whole host, a great cloud of witnesses, those who were your blood relatives and those who just claim you, who love you, who see you, who honor you, who ride for you. You are not alone. So remember that. And remember that. So we need to reclaim, we need to remember, and then following in the footsteps and paws of Simba, when he remembers who he is, when he reclaims his identity and heritage, he opens his mouth and roars. Beloved, it is time for you to roar. This moment in time is not about quiet. This moment is not about hashtag Blackout Tuesday. This moment is not about silence. It's not even about resistance. We are no longer pushing against the mountain of oppression. We are circling its base, lacing each crack with a stick of dynamite, lighting each wick with our ancestors' names. This is revolution. This is a time for you to roar. This is a time for you to use your voice. I don't care if you are a singer, a dancer, a drummer, a connector, a healer, a root worker, a conjurer. I don't care if you are a chef, if you make beds real good, if you can skate backwards, if you are differently able and you sit there and blink real cute. Now is the time for you to roar. Now is the time for you to take up space. Now is the time for you to get big, because Christ has set us free. So when Christ, a poor North African Jewish revolutionary refugee who looks like me and you, has set you free, how dare you yield to oppression? How dare you submit yourself to the yoke of bondage? How dare you acquiesce to the powers that be? Fuck the powers that be. You are the power that is. We are the power that be. We be the culture. We be the shift. We be the future. And I don't care if you are flexitarian, vegetarian, no-atarian, eat clean, stay hydrated, cut off the bullshit. Don't have the conversations that drain you. Get into therapy. Talk to your healers. Cry out to your ancestors. Pray at your altar. Journal first thing in the morning. Walk that walk and talk that talk, because it's time for us to reclaim who we are. It's time for us to remember who we are. It's time for us to roar like the warriors and healers and artists that we are. Because Jesus the Christ, the African Messiah, The one who has called me to reclaim and co-opt Christianity as an African traditional religion is the same one who calls us to center the collective, is the same one who calls us to flip tables in the temple, is the same one who calls us to speak truth to power. But you can't speak truth to power if you're drained, if you're burned out. So reclaim your rest. Remember to nap and roar when you have the energy to do so. Beloved ones, this Juneteenth, we honor our ancestors, those who, though they were free 2.5 years later, previously, didn't realize they were free until 2.5 years later. And so Juneteenth is not the celebration of our ancestors getting free. Juneteenth is a celebration of our ancestors getting word that they are free. Beloved, this is your word that you are free. You may have felt bound for 2 years, 2 decades, however long it is. But it is time, beloved, for you to reclaim, for you to remember, and for you to roar. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo, Ashe, Amen, Amen, Namaste. Be well, beloved, and if it's not well, it's not the end. Peace.
Flag. Yeah.
That was a whole word, though, wasn't it? Like an entire one. Let's see if I put this back to where it belongs. Oh my goodness, y'all. Y'all. Reclaim your rest. Roar. What else? Remember who you are. I'm about to go back and watch. I'm going to have to watch Lion King. I think I'm going to have to watch Lion King. But it's time for our announcements. I'm so happy that y'all have stuck and stayed with us. We have a little bit more to go. But I want to first and foremost formally thank each and every one of our sponsors and every single person that continues to donate, even as we speak. These donors spent their time, their talent, their treasure, just pouring not only just into me, but into this project. And it could not have been done without each and every one of you. So if you bought a book, if you bought a copy of Bruh, Poems to Pay for Alimony, you helped make Juneteenth happen. If you bought a mask, if you bought a pair of waist beads, you helped Juneteeth4me happen. So you can call yourself a donor. These t-shirts, I got a few of them. Let me know. You too can be a donor, right? So I'm going to give explicitly thanks to Q's Cafe, Melanated Essentials, Sankofa Arts, The Well for Life, who is our healing sponsor. So please remember that you can reach out to them for any support that you need this entire Juneteenth weekend. And we thank y'all in advance for offering that service to us. They're from down in Florida. So y'all can see we all over the country out here. And shout out to my folks on the West Coast. I see you, Tanish. Also, we want to give it up for Thirst Trappers Association. Those are the biker shorts I'm wearing right now. You can't see them, but they're down there. The LGBT Center of Greater Cleveland, thank you so much for continuing to sow into me. I became a volunteer at the LGBT Center before I even came out. And so you all took me in and gave me space and continue to give me space. So thank you for affirming me in this work. Ohio Women's Association down in Columbus, Ohio, thank you. To all the individual donors, the ones who are coming in by Cash App and otherwise, I thank each of you. I can't even name all of y'all by name. And then I have to just really, really shout out the tech squad, the people who really helped me make these visuals what you see here today. This was definitely a beautiful labor of love. And I've learned a lot about myself and what it means to really collaborate. I know Pastor Bay, sorry, I live in the hood. Y'all gonna hear some stuff happening in the background. It's cool. We're going to keep it pushing. But collaboration has been the currency of this project. People have said yes for much less. And so when you donate to us, when you donate to that Cash App, that money goes towards me being able to give these artists more and to sow into their art, because I don't believe in artists doing anything for free. God gave us these talents for an appointed reason and for us to sustain ourselves. Some things are for service, but some things are for sustaining. And when we are able to fiscally put our treasure behind our artists, especially during times like this, these are the things that edify us and keep us going. So thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. And speaking of which, Bianca, Michelle handled all of the music that you hear. So all of those in between songs that you hear on all of our slides and things like that, all of those are Cleveland artists. We're doing all things Cleveland out here. Well, not all things Cleveland, but at the root of it is Cleveland and people who love where they're from, right? And so I also want to give a shout out to LA for just donating your time and being so gracious and patient with me as we got this project done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also just want to shout out to guests in order of appearance. Morning of Black Star, I thank you. Dana Marie, I thank you. Sheila Sullivan, I thank you. Jay Renee, I thank you. Quentin Bell, I thank you. Fire Angel, I thank you. And my mantra will be A, from henceforth now and forevermore. Jasmine Burnett, I thank you. Victoria Hubbard Barnes, I thank you so much, my sister, for just ushering us in and holding space the way that you do your anointing. It's just such a blessing and such a breath of fresh air in my life. Shamika Chandler, I thank you. Maki Dada, that's my Nettie. Pastor Bay Levon Proverbs, I thank you. Constance, who you'll see after this, I thank you in advance. Vermont Wiley, who you'll see after this, I thank you in advance. Ronika Lachey, my cousin, I thank you in advance. And Kimmy Cat, I thank you in advance. And I actually got 2 more videos for y'all. If y'all want to stay while I load them up, feel free to stay after the credits roll because I really want to show y'all these 2 performances that are from 2 of my good friends and family members from New York. So if you really want to see what the East Coast is talking about, stick and stay because I got some good music for you at the very end of it. Also, there might be a Zoom after party coming. So look out for a link on the Facebook page, on the Juneteeth4me Facebook page. All right. So those are all the announcements that I have. I think if I missed a person, I apologize in advance. Please charge it to my mind and a couple of other, never mind. I'm not going to go there. Just charge it to my mind. Okay. So we're going to ride this thing on out. And here we go, y'all. I love y'all so much. Let's do it.
What can I do? Why come we Lord, why come we Lord, why come we? I wish I had never was born. Lord, why come we? Lord, why come we? I wish I never was born. There ain't no freedom here, Lord. There ain't no freedom here. There ain't no freedom. I wish I never was born. They sold my children away, Lord. They sold
So my children wait. Hey, so my children wait, Lord. I wish I never was born. Lord, why come we Lord, why come we Lord, why come we? I wish I never was born.
You will arise and have mercy on Zion, for the time to favor her. Yes, the set time has come. Our higher power, it is our set time. It has come. And though we question why, time after time, God just embolden us, encourage us, empower us, remind us of who we are, remind us that we have not lost our way, that you have always been our North Star, that you have always been the moth on the north side of the tree, that we will always be in your grace, in your power, in your strength. And as we leave this place, both physically and virtually, but never from your sight, in our higher power, we ask that you cover us. We ask that you will guide us. We ask that you remind us that who we are has never been a mistake. Not our skin has never been a mistake. Our gender has never been a mistake. Our sexual orientation has never been a mistake. Who we are and how we show up on this earth, this land that you've called for your people, it's never a mistake. And we just give you glory. We just give you honor and power. And we take that honor and that glory and that grace for ourselves because we are in your image. And we remember why. Even through the sorrow, God, we remember why we are here. We give you thanks for this here Juneteenth, for this here healing experience, for this here opportunity to pause and reflect and recharge, to stay the course, to dance through this here storm. Because we know that we cannot stay still in it. But there's sunshine right behind those clouds. For that, we are always grateful, always thankful, always thankful. Amen, amen. Ashe, namaste, peace.
Alrighty, so I am Ronika, owner of Manic Mixes. So Manic Mixes is a mobile mixology bartending company. I started in May of 2018. It was just an idea that I had for maybe like 2 years prior. I used to just like make drinks for my family, make drinks for myself, for my friends. And I remember taking my boyfriend, we went out of town for his birthday. And I was like, I saw a girl making cute little personal like drink bottles. And I was like, oh, I really like those. And I was going to pay her. And I was like, you know what? Let me try my hand myself. I'll make a good drink. So this was like 2016. 2 years later, I finally like put it to paper and made it come to fruition. And I've been going since then. So I do drinks by the pint. I do drinks by the fifth and by the gallon. I offer bartending services here with the bar that I have. So if you're having an event and you're a bartender, I do that as well. And today I have my cousin Eris. We are doing some Juneteeth demo drinks in honor of Juneteeth, which is this Friday. So in honor of that, we're going to be doing these Juneteeth cocktails.
And which kind of cocktails are we starting with? Where did we get these ideas from
if
to start?
If you are an Atlanta watcher, you have seen they had a Juneteenth episode
For sure.
with Juneteenth drinks. So our first one is going to be the Freedom Fighter Margarita. So to start off with the Freedom Fighter Margarita, we have some tequila, grenadine. We couldn't find any bloodline, so we're going to substitute. We're going to use regular lime and grenadine to give it that Freedom Fighter blood color. And then we have some triple sec.
Awesome.
So here we go. That's our first one. That's going to be our Freedom Fighter Margarita.
And this is
the Plantation Master Poison. So which I thought was super interesting and super funny. But it was also super easy to make. So we have the triple sec, we have the Tito's, and this one just calls for a bitter lime soda. What's more bitter than Sprite? Kind of like to hand pour my mixes. I really don't.
You listen to the ancestors.
I listen to the ancestors. Yes, and that's how I make my drinks too. Just how I season my food. So, real seasoned over here. Take the lime, make a nice little slit, toss it on side of cup, and there you go. There's your Plantation Master Poison. Our third drink is my actual mix, and I will have these shameless plug this weekend for sale for Juneteenth. It is the Blackity Berry. So to get us started with the Blackity Berry, we have some Blackberry Merlot Arbor Mist, which when you think about a Merlot, you think dry and you think bitter, but this actually tastes really, really good.
That's because it's that church mother.
It's that church mother's wine. So we're going to kick ours up a little bit because we know Arbor Mist is like 2% alcohol. So we're going to go ahead and add a Tito's. Now, you can add anything to your Blackity Berry that you like. For me, Tito's is simple, but if you're a tequila drinker, that's fine. Any type of white liqueur. And honestly, you could even do dark liquor because with this being a Merlot, you could do a brandy. You could do any type of dark liquor as well. Now, this I'm not going to measure out because it is more like a wine. So we're just going to free pour this just to give it a nice drink. You can hear that fizzy flavor because it is wine.
So it has a little bit of carbonation to it. A little bit of carbonation,
so which gives it, like, to me, sangria vibes when you mix it with the liquor because it does get, like, you don't have to add a Sprite to give it that carbonation. It already has it. So we're going to do the Blackberry Merlot. I will go ahead and we'll do the Tito's. And again, however you're feeling generous with your pour, that's how you should do it. Just let them lead you. They always lead you to a good place. So there we go. We have our Tito's. And then for our... just to give it a nice little balance, give it a nice little tang to it, I'm going to do lemonade as the base for this one. And so they do make blackberry like liqueur that I believe that is non-alcohol. So if you want to just get this like as a mocktail version, they do make a blackberry liqueur that doesn't have alcohol that you're able to do. Same, and add the lemonade without the Tito's, which will give you that mocktail.
Very cool.
You're going to pour.
Drinks are for everybody. Everybody deserves a good fancy beverage.
Whether it has alcohol or not. Everybody deserves to drink good and, enjoy themselves. And we all know a good drink makes a party. So we're going to shake that up just a little. Love the color of this. The lemonade actually lightens it up a little bit. And then for garnish here, I'm just going to toss a couple fresh blackberries on top. And you can also do just a lemon as a garnish on the side. We have our Blackity Berry mix, which again is my own mix, and it will be available this weekend. So, for all of your Juneteenth needs, whether you're getting together with friends, just doing something at home by yourself or have family, You have a plethora of options for your drinking, whether it be a mocktail or a regular cocktail. We have our Freedom Cider Margarita, our Plantation Master Poison, and our Blackity Berry to accommodate all your Juneteenth needs.
Just tell the people who you are one more time.
Again, my name is Juneteeth Lachey. I'm the owner of Manic Mixes. You can find me on Instagram at Manic Mixes, as well as on Facebook, Manic Mixes.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kevin.
you for having me. I'm excited. I hope you guys have a good Juneteenth. You enjoy yourselves. I know I will. I'm going to have some of my Blackity Berry on the table, but I may also make some of our other themed Juneteenth drinks as well.
Yeah.
Happy
Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. I'm excited. It is the week for Juneteenth.
It is.
I'm going to buy me some fireworks. Okay, I'm making it a whole. We're going to have a whole thing over here.
All right, y'all. Till
Thank
next time.
you.
Peace.
You know what? I was gonna play this for y'all right now, but y'all don't. It's not time to party yet. I'm gonna wait for a second before we go to Kimmy, because I want to give y'all these last couple songs. All right. So just be patient with me. Just hold tight. It's coming. I got a couple good things for you. So this is from Stephanie Gale. This was my roommate when I lived at the Crystal House in Brooklyn, New York. Let's see if it's on here. It's coming. And I'm going to show y'all this lyric video. This is I Can Only Be Me.
Butterflies begin as having been another, as a child was born from being in a mother's womb. But how many times have you wished you were someone that knew you are? Yet who's to say that if all were uncovered, you would like what you see? You can only be you. 'Cause I can only be you. Flowers cannot blow until it is their season, as we would not be here unless it was our destiny. But how many times have you wished to be in spaces, time, places from where you were? Yet who's to say in unfamiliar faces you could anymore be? Loving you like you see. Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah. You can only be you. Whoa, 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 whoa. 'Cause I can only be me. Ooh.
Steph, I almost cussed at you. I forgot this was a worship service. Can't be doing me like. Okay, my bad, y'all. Hold on. I think we back. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? No?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me, y'all just can't see me, right? I'm back on? Okay. My bad, y'all. My bad. I didn't mean to do everything that I had done. So give me 1 second to load this last video. And thank you for sticking and staying with me. It means the world. Hold on. And thank you to all who has donated during the cast. It is a blessing. I'm so able to pour into some more artists. It's a gift. So this last one I'm going to share for y'all is, before we go back to our last performance from Kimmy, is, let me see, share screen. Give me a second, y'all. I'm working on it, I promise. There we go. Which way did I have it? I think there we go. Whoa, that looks like the Matrix. So here we go. Last song, Liberation Era from Brooklyn, New York, everybody.
Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. Keep your self-respect, or keep your pride. Get yourself again. Keep your stride. Never mind your fear. Brighter days will soon be here. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Sing your greatest song, and you keep going on.
Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
All right. That was a little. My bad, y'all. That's my bad. I every time I try to come out of the thing, I exit completely out. So I apologize in advance. But like I said, we're all learning. So thank you to the Liberation Era. Thank you to Stephanie Gale, my cousin Jen, who you heard on the Donny Hathaway song. She had a very, very troubling week. And so I just want to just extend super gratitude to you for making yourself available to this broadcast and to this event. It is a blessing and a joy. So y'all, it's time to go into our party. So I'm gonna jump us off with "I Want to Dance with Somebody," a performance by my homegirl Kimmy, and then from there, y'all should see the link for an after party coming up on the Juneteeth4me page. All right, everybody? Peace. Well, you can still look at me until I figure out how to share my screen again. So, yay for my beautiful face. Let me share.
And the sun begins to fall. Still enough time to figure out how to chase my blues away. I'm gonna wait until now. It's the thing that shows me how. And when the night falls, let's go.
That's not for me to decide. That's for someone who decides to live with me to decide. Not for me.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you to every sponsor. Thank you to every person who donated. Thank you to the whole tech team. Thank you for y'all for staying. It means so much to me. So till next time, I will see y'all soon. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all what was coming next. There is definitely something coming next. So one of the next things you see, not all the things, but one of the next things you will see. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Go back to just me. There we go. One of the next things you will see as far as Blackity Black events will be Kwanzaa Revival. So be on the lookout for a save the date around October, November-ish. Yes. Kwanzaa Revival is coming, along with some other great things. If you're interested in a t-shirt, I have about maybe 10 of them in a couple different sizes. So send me a DM. I can get some more, but they'll probably be up for pre-order. So once again, thank y'all for sticking and staying. Till next time. Peace, y'all.